Hi everyone, welcome to the continent of Africa. This is a brief explanation of the following items on each of the country measured on this channel: the geography, the culture, the languages, climate, tourism, some of the emblematic places of interest, and the diversity of the ethnic groups living in harmony in one country. I wish you will broaden your knowledge by listening to the video. I believe that joining effort will make it possible to improve the cross-cultural understanding and global awareness among the nations in order to develop perception and inclusion of the strange. I thank you so much for your time and interest. Welcome to Angola in Africa continent. Here goes the geography. Angola, officially the Republic of Angola, is a country in southern Africa with an area of 1,246,700 square kilometers and a total population of about 25 million inhabitants in 2014 census estimate. It is bordered by Namibia to the south, the Democratic Republic of the Congo to the north, Zambia to the east, and the Atlantic Ocean to the west. The exclave province of Cabinda has borders with the Republic of the Congo and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The capital and largest city is Luanda, which lies on the Atlantic coast in the northwest of the country. It gained independence on 11 November 1975. However, I have selected in random the ethnic groups with higher population and the languages widely spoken among the nation. The Ambundu and Ovimbundu nations combined form a majority of the population, and other ethnic groups include the Showe, the Ovambo, the Ganguela, the Zindoga, the Mestizos, that's the mixed race of European and African, the Chinese, and the European. Languages. The languages in Angola are those originally spoken by the different ethnic groups and Portuguese, introduced during the Portuguese colonial era. The indigenous languages with the largest usage are Umbundo, Kimbundo, Bakongo, and Kigongo. However, Portuguese is the official language of the country. Finally, it might be of interest to know some of the emblematic places for cultural and tourism purposes. In Angola, there is a culture ministry that is managed by the government. Portugal has been present in Angola for 400 years. It occupied the territory in the 19th and early 20th century and ruled over it for about 50 years. As a consequence, both countries share cultural aspects. Climate. Angola has 3 seasons: a dry season which lasts from May to October, a transitional season with some rain from November to January, and a hot rainy season from February to April. Angola's average temperature on the coast is 16 degrees centigrade in the winter and 21 degrees centigrade in the summer, while the interior is generally hotter and drier. Tourism. The tourism industry in Angola is based on the country's natural beauty, including its rivers, waterfalls, and beautiful coastline. Angola's tourism industry is relatively new, as much of the country was destroyed during the post-colonial civil war, which ended in 2002. Unlike most countries in the region, which generally give the Americans, Europeans, and many other citizens a visa on arrival or require no visa at all, Angola has complicated and vigorous Soviet-style visa requirements. People need official letter of invitation, documents concerning purpose of travel, copy of travel itinerary, proof of funds, and other documents, all of which are sent back to Luanda for approval. This outdated attitude to tourism places the country at a disadvantage in a competitive market for international tourism. Hi everyone, welcome to the continent of Africa. This is a brief explanation of the following items on each of the countries measured on this channel: the geography, the culture, the languages, climate, tourism, some of the emblematic places of interest, and the diversity of the ethnic groups living in harmony in one country. I wish you will broaden your knowledge by listening to the video. I believe that joining effort will make it possible to improve the cross-cultural understanding and global awareness among the nations in order to develop perception and inclusion of the strange. I thank you so much for your time and interest. Welcome to Botswana in Africa continent. Botswana, officially the Republic of Botswana, is a landlocked country located in the southern Africa. It covers an area of 581,730 square kilometers, with a population of 2,155,784 inhabitants. That's the 2014 census estimate. The capital and largest city is Gaborone. It is bordered by South Africa to the south and southeast, Namibia to the west and north, and Zimbabwe to the northeast. Its border with Zambia to the north near Kazugula, which is a new 100 meters long, a few hundred meters long. Botswana is divided into 9 districts. It was formerly the British protectorate of Bechuanaland. Botswana adopted its new name after becoming independent within the Commonwealth on 30th September 1966. Since then, it has maintained a strong tradition of stable representative democracy with a consistent record of uninterrupted democratic elections. However, I have selected in random the ethnic groups with higher population and the languages widely spoken among the nation. ethnic group. The Tswana are the majority ethnic group in Botswana, making up 79% of the population. The largest minority ethnic groups are the Bakalanga and San or Abatua, also known as Basawa. Other tribes are Baye, Bambukusu, Basubia, Baherero, and Bakgalagadi. In addition, there are small numbers of whites and Indians, both groups being roughly equally small in number. Botswana's Indian population is made up of many Indian Africans of several generations, with some having migrated from Mozambique, Kenya, Tanzania, Mauritius, South Africa, and Zimbabwe, as well as first-generation Indian immigrants. A small number of San people are still living their traditional hunter-gatherer style of life. Language. The official language of Botswana is English, although Setswana is widely spoken across the country. In Setswana, prefixes are more important than they are in many other languages. These prefixes include Bo, which refers to the country, Ba, which refers to the people, Mo, which is one person, and Si, which is the language. The people as a whole are Botswana. One person is Motswana, and the language they speak is Setswana. Other minority languages are also spoken in Botswana, including Afrikaners. Finally, it might be of interest to know some of the emblematic places for cultural and tourism purposes. The culture, with reference to the language of the dominant people groups in Botswana, Setswana is the adjective used to describe the rich cultural traditions of the Botswana, whether construed as members of the Swan ethnic groups or of all citizens of Botswana. Botswana music is mostly vocal and performed sometimes without drums, depending on the occasion. It also makes heavy use of string instruments. Botswana cultural musical instruments are not confined only to the strings or drums. The hands are also used as musical instruments, by either clapping them together or against a goat skin turned inside out wrapped around the calf area. It is only used by men to create music and rhythm. For the last few decades, the guitar has been celebrated as a versatile music instrument for Swana music, as it offers a variety in string which the Segaba instrument does not have. The highlight of any celebration or event that shows especially happiness is the dancing. This differs by regime, age, gender, and status in the group or in the community if it's a travel activity. Climate. Botswana is landlocked and has a subtropical desert climate characterized by great differences in day and night temperatures. Virtually, there is little or no rain during the entire winter, and humidity is low. Typically 20 to 40%. Animals will concentrate around water holes and rivers when other water resources dry up. The temperatures in winter are relatively cool in the morning and high in the afternoon, as from May to August, but in some areas the afternoons will be more pleasant with mean temperatures around 25 degrees centigrade. November and December, clouds start to appear, bringing cooler temperatures and an occasional late afternoon shower. This pattern of change continues in December, with typical temperatures lower in the morning and higher in the afternoon. Humidity is typically high, about 60%, characterized by torrential downpours in the afternoon and sometimes continuous rainfall for days between January and February. Daytime temperatures are around 32 degrees centigrade and humidity is between 50 to 80%. However, rainfall decreases and it's steadily cooler between March and April. This trend continues through April, which has lovely, clear weather and few clouds. Tourism. The Botswana Tourism Organization is the country's official tourism group. Primarily, tourists visit Gaborone due to the city having numerous activities for visitors. There are 5-star hotels and some luxury hotels that also features a casino. The Lion Park Resort is Botswana's first permanent amusement park and hosts events such as birthday parties for families. Other destinations in Botswana include the Gaborone Yacht Club and the Kalahari Fishing Club, and natural attractions such as the Gaborone Dam and Mokolodi Nature Reserve. There are also golf courses which are maintained by the Botswana Golf Union. Hi everyone, welcome to the continent of Africa. This is a brief explanation of the following items on each of the countries measured on this channel: the geography, the culture, the languages, climate, tourism, some of the emblematic places of interest, and the diversity of the ethnic groups living in harmony in one country. I wish you will broaden your knowledge by listening to the video. I believe that joining effort will make it possible to improve the cross-cultural understanding and global awareness among the nations in order to develop perception and inclusion of the strange. I thank you so much for your time and interest. Welcome to Uganda in African continent. Here goes the geography. Uganda, officially the Republic of Uganda, is a landlocked country in East Africa. It covers an area of 241,038 square kilometers. with a population of about 37,873,253 inhabitants. That's the 2013 census estimate. The capital and largest city is Kampala. It is bordered to the east by Kenya, to the north by South Sudan, to the west by the Democratic Republic of the Congo, to the southwest by Rwanda, and to the south by Tanzania. Uganda is the world's second most populous landlocked country after Ethiopia. The southern part of the country includes a substantial portion of Lake Victoria, shared with Kenya and Tanzania. Uganda is in the African Great Lakes region. Uganda gained independence from Britain in October 1962 as a Commonwealth realm with Queen Elizabeth II as head of state. In October 1963, Uganda became a republic but maintained its membership in the Commonwealth of Nations. However, I have selected in random the ethnic groups with higher population and the languages widely spoken among the nations. Ethnic groups from largest to lowest in Uganda are Baganda, Bayankole, Basoka, Bakiga, Sheso, Lanjim, Asholi, Bagisu, Lubara, Buyoro, and other minority groups. Languages. Uganda is ethnologically diverse with at least 40 languages in usage. Luganda is the most common language. English and Swahili are the co-official languages after the amendment of the Constitution in 2005. Though Swahili has not been favored by the Bantu-speaking populations of the south and southwest of the country, it is an important lingua franca in the northern regions, and it is a widely used language throughout the African Great Lakes region. It is also widely used in the police and military forces, which may be a historical result of the disproportionate recruitment of northerners into the security forces during the colonial period. The status of Swahili has thus alternated with the political group in power. There are minority groups with their mother tongues which are spoken but hardly recognized. Finally, it might be of interest to know some of the emblematic places for cultural and tourism purposes. The culture. Uganda is a multicultural country in the African Great Lakes region with a diverse range of ethnic groups. There is a gallery which features exhibitions of works of art by both Ugandan and foreign artists. The National Theatre provides a venue for stage performances of different kinds. Men and women have different styles of dressing according to the region or tribe they belong to. Lake Yoga forms the northern boundary for the Bantu-speaking people who dominate most of East, Central, and South Africa. That contributes mainly in the cultural activities attributed to the Bantu people, including the Baganda and several other tribes. In the north, the Lango and the Acholi peoples predominate, and to the east are the Tiso and Karamojong, whereas the Jisu are part of the Bantu and live mainly on the slopes of Mount Elgon. Those closely related to the Luo of Kenya speak Lumasaba, are influenced by the Kenyan culture. Climate. The climate is tropical and generally raining with 2 dry seasons, December to February, June to August. It is semi-arid in the northeast. Tourism. Tourism in Uganda is focused on Uganda's landscape and wildlife. It is a major driver of employment, investment, and foreign exchange. Tourism can be used to fight poverty in Uganda. There are tourism companies which employ people directly as drivers, guides, secretaries, accountants, and so on and so forth. These companies sell art and art crafts, traditional attire products to tourists. Tourism is also operated online by the online-based companies. The tourism attractions in Uganda include national game parks, game reserves, traditional sites, natural tropical forests, traditional occasions like Balu in eastern Uganda, boat riding and waterfalls. By the late 1980s, Uganda's political climate had stabilized and conditions were suitable for reinvestment in Uganda's tourist industry. However, the loss of charismatic wildlife in previously popular safari parks, such as Murchison Falls National Park and Queen Elizabeth Park, prevented these parks from competing with similar tourist attractions in neighboring Kenya and Tanzania. Uganda's tourist industry instead promoted its tropical forests. The keystone of the new industry became windy, impenetrable national park, with approximately half of the world's population of mountain gorillas. Adventure tourism, ecotourism, and cultural tourism have been developed. In October 2014, the Ugandan government's Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities released the 2014 to 2024 Tourism Development Master Plan with support from the United Nations World Tourism Organization and the United Nations Development Program. Among other strategies, the plan divides the country up into several geographical tourism development areas to explore. Hi everyone, welcome to the continent of Africa. This is a brief explanation of the following items on each of the country measured on this channel: the geography, the culture, the languages, climate, tourism, some of the emblematic places of interest, and the diversity of the ethnic groups living in harmony in one country. I wish you will broaden your knowledge by listening to the video. I believe that joining effort will make it possible to improve the cross-cultural understanding and global awareness among the nations in order to develop perception and inclusion of the strange. I thank you so much for your time and interest. Welcome to Tanzania in Africa continent. Here goes the geography. Tanzania, officially the United Republic of Tanzania, is a country in East Africa within the African Great Lakes region. It is bordered by Kenya and Uganda to the north, Rwanda, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of Congo to the west, Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique to the south, and the Indian Ocean to the east, with a population of 51.81 million inhabitants. According to the 2014 census, and an area of 947,303 square kilometers. Its official capital is Dodoma, and the largest city is Dar es Salaam. The former capital, which retains most government offices and principal port and leading commercial center. The mainland was governed as Tanganyika, with the Zanzibar archipelago remaining a separate colonial jurisdiction. Following their respective independence in 1961 and 1963, the two regions merged in April 1964 to form the United Republic of Tanzania, that is Tanganyika and Zanzibar. However, I have selected in random the ethnic groups with higher population and the languages widely spoken among the nation. There are about 125 ethnic groups in Tanzania. The Sukuma, Nyamwezi, Chaga, and Haya peoples are the largest groups. Approximately 99% of Tanzanians are of African descent, with small numbers of Arab, European, and Asian descent. The majority of Tanzanians, including the Sukuma and the Nyamwezi, are Bantu. The Nilotic peoples include the nomadic Maasai and Luo, both of which are found in greater numbers in neighboring Kenya. The population also includes people of Arab, Indian, and Pakistani origin, and small European and Chinese communities. Many others are also identified as Syrizes. Some albinos in Tanzania have been the victim of violence in recent years. Attacks are often to hack off the limbs of albinos in the perverse superstitious belief that possessing the bones of albinos will bring wealth. The country has banned witch doctors to try to prevent the practice, but it has continued and albinos remain targets. Languages. More than 100 different languages are spoken in Tanzania, making it the most linguistically diverse country in East Africa. Among the languages spoken in Tanzania are all four of Afrikaans language families: Bantu, Cushitic, Nilotic, and Kwasan. Swahili and English are Tanzania's official languages. Swahili is used in parliamentary debates, in the lower courts, and as a medium of instruction in primary school. English is used in foreign trade, in diplomacy, in higher courts, and as a medium of instruction in secondary and higher education. Although the Tanzanian government plans to discontinue English as a language of instruction altogether, in connection with his Ujamaa social policies, President Nyerere encouraged the use of Swahili as a means of unifying the country's many ethnic groups. Approximately 10% of Tanzanians speak Swahili as a first language, and up to 90% speak it as a second language. Most Tanzanians speak both Swahili and a local language. Many educated Tanzanians are trilingual, also speaking English. The widespread use and promotion of Swahili is contributing to the decline of smaller languages in the country. There is no Department of Local or Regional African Languages and Literature at the University of Dar es Salaam. Finally, it might be of interest to know some of the emblematic places for cultural and tourism purposes. The country is diverse, composed of several ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups. Tanzania is a combination of the names of the two states that unify to create the country, Tanganyika and Zanzibar. The name Tanganyika is derived from the Swahili words meaning creating the phrase, sail in the wilderness. It is sometimes understood as a reference to Lake Tanganyika. The name of Zanzibar comes from Zenji, the name for a local people said to mean black, and the Arabic word Bar, which means coast or shore. The people of Tanzania have been associated with the production of iron and steel. The Pearl people were the main producers of highly demanded iron for peoples who occupy the mountain regions of northeastern Tanzania. The Haya people on the western shore of Lake Victoria invented a type of high heat blast furnace which allowed them to forge carbon steel at temperatures exceeding 1,820 degrees centigrade. The literacy rate in Tanzania is at peak in comparison to the neighboring countries. Climate. Climate varies greatly within Tanzania. In the highlands, temperatures range between 10 and 20 degrees centigrade during cold and hot seasons, respectively. The rest of the country has temperatures rarely falling lower than 20 degrees centigrade. The hottest period extends between November and February, while the coldest period occurs between May and August. The climate is cool in high mountainous regions. Tanzania has two major rainfall regimes. The first is from October to April in southern, central, and west part of the country, and the other is from October to December and March to May in the north from Lake Victoria extending to the coast. Tourism. About 40% of Tanzania's land area is set aside in protected areas for conservation. Tanzania has 16 national parks, plus a variety of game and forest reserves, including Ngorongoro Conservation Area. In western Tanzania, Gombe Stream National Park is the site of Jane Goddard's ongoing study of chimpanzee behavior, which started in 1960. Tanzania is highly biodiverse and contains a wide variety of animal habitats. On Tanzania's Serengeti Plain, white-beard, wildebeest, and other bovies participate in a large-scale annual migration. Tanzania is also home to about 130 amphibian and over 275 reptile species, many of them strictly endemic and included in the International Union for Conservation of Nature's red list of different countries. Tanzania has developed a biodiversity action plan to address species conservation. The vast majority of tourists visit Zanzibar or a northern circuit of Serengeti National Park, the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, Tarangire National Park, and Lake Mayara National Park, and also Mount Kilimanjaro throughout the year. Hi everyone, welcome to the continent of Africa. This is a brief explanation of the following items on each of the countries measured on this channel: the geography, the culture, the languages, climate, tourism, some of the emblematic places of interest, and the diversity of the ethnic groups living in harmony in one country. I wish you will broaden your knowledge by listening to the video. I believe that joining effort will make it possible to improve the cross-cultural understanding and global awareness among the nations in order to develop perception and inclusion of the strange. I thank you so much for your time and interest. Welcome to Mozambique. Here goes the geography. Mozambique, officially the Republic of Mozambique, is a country located on the southeast coast of Africa. It is bordered by Swaziland to the south, South Africa to the southwest, Zimbabwe to the west, Zambia and Malawi to the northwest, Tanzania to the north, and the Indian Ocean to the east. It is separated from Madagascar by the Mozambique Channel to the east. The capital and largest city is Maputo, known as Lourenço Marques. Before independence, with an area of 801,590 square kilometers and has a population of 24,692,144 inhabitants. That's the 2014 census estimate. It gained independence on 25 June 1975. The country is drained by 5 principal rivers and several small ones, with the largest and most important the Zambezi. Mozambique is divided into 10 provinces and 1 capital city with provincial status. The provinces are subdivided into 129 districts. The districts are further divided in 405 administrative posts and then into localities with the major cities. Mozambique gained independence on 25 June 1975, becoming the People's Republic of Mozambique Shortly thereafter, after only 2 years of independence, the country descended into an intense and protracted civil war lasting from 1977 to 1992. In 1994, Mozambique held its first multi-party election and has remained a relatively stable presidential republic. However, I have selected in random the ethnic groups with higher population and the languages widely spoken among the nations. In 1998, about 99.66% of the population was made up of indigenous tribal groups, including the Sangan, Showe, Majika, Sena, and Makua. Overall, there are 10 major ethnic clusters. The largest, residing north of the Zambezi, is the Makwa Longwe group, representing about 7% of the total population. The Yao or Ajawa live in Niassa province. The Makonde live mainly along the Rovuma River. Other northern groups are the Guni, who also live in the far south, and the Maravi south of Zambezi. The main group is the Songa, who have figured prominently as Mozambican mine laborers in South Africa. The Topi are coastal people of Inhambane province. The Shona or Karanga dwell in the central region. Also, there are minority groups living in Mozambique in the 1990s, Euro-Africans, Europeans, and Indians. Languages. The only official language of Mozambique is Portuguese, which is spoken mostly as a second language by about half of the population. Common native languages include Swahili, Mahua, and Sena. The country's population is composed overwhelmingly of Bantu people. Finally, it might be of interest to know some of the emblematic places for cultural and tourism purposes. The culture. The music of Mozambique can serve many purposes, ranging from religious expression to traditional ceremonies. Musical instruments are usually handmade. Some of the instruments used in Mozambican musical expression include drums made of wood and animal skin, a wood wind instrument made from animal horns or wood, and the marimba, which is a kind of xylophone native to Mozambique and other parts of Africa. The Makonde are renowned for their wood carving and elaborate masks. There are two different kinds of wood carvings. Setani, that's the evil spirits, which are mostly carved in heavy ebony, tall and elegantly carved with symbols and non-representational faces. The Ujama are totem-type carvings which illustrate life-like faces of people and various figures. These sculptures are usually referred to as family trees because they tell stories of many generations. Mozambique was ruled by Portugal, and they share in common a main language and their main religion. That's the Roman Catholicism. But since most of the people are Bantus, Most of the culture is native and for Bantu living in urban areas with some Portuguese influence. Mozambican culture influences the Portuguese culture. Mozambican music, movies, food, and traditions are now part of everyday lifestyles of Portugal. Climate. Mozambique has a tropical climate with two seasons, a wet season from October to March and a dry season from April to September. Climatic conditions, however, vary depending on altitude. Rainfall is heavy along the coast and decreases in the north and south. Annual precipitation varies significantly depending on the region. Cyclones are common during the wet season. Average temperature ranges from 13 to 24 degrees centigrade in July and 22 to 31 degrees centigrade in February. Tourism. Despite its tourism assets and its nearness to South Africa, one of the world's top tourist destinations, Mozambique has the lowest tourist number of all its neighboring except Malawi. Tourism was a very profitable industry in the pre-independence period. Rhodesians and South Africans visited Beira and Mozambique's southern beaches. Gorongosa National Park, halfway between Zimbabwe and Beira, was a large tourist attraction. The country's tourism sector is also growing. South Africa is Mozambique's main trading partner and source of foreign direct investment. Portugal, Brazil, Spain, and Belgium are also among the country's most important economic partners. By the end of the 1990s, tourism was the fastest growing sector of Mozambique's economy. In 2005, the tourism industry grew by 37%, the fastest tourist industry growth rate in the world. The industry attracts more foreign investment than any other part of the country's economy. Many tourist operators supply their own power. Air access is limited with only one connection to Portugal, other than regional services to Dar es Salaam, Harare, Johannesburg, and Nairobi. Flight prices are high. Domestic air transport is very limited. The country's visa regulations are a problem for the tourist industry because many other countries near to it, such as Mauritius, Seychelles, and the Maldives, do not require European Union citizens to have visas. The government hopes that the country's game and nature reserve will become a major tourist attraction. Despite game numbers being decimated during the wars, there is positive growth in many of the nation's parks, especially the Maputo Special Reserve and Gorongosa parks. The country has four notable lakes: Lake Nyasa or Malawi, Lake Chiwita, Lake Kahora, Bassa, and Lake Siwa, all in the north.